G'day, what's up everybody? Lodbrock Dota here. Today we're going to be looking at closing the game. We're going to be looking at how you get a lead, or how you have this lead and you turn it into a win, right? The magical, what's the word? Alchemy. The magical alchemy of turning a lead into a victory. So this is the game that we're looking at for context. These are the players here. I think I'd say this almost every game. Australian matchmaking, especially 4M, is pretty wonky. So we have some top 1,000, top 2,000 players in the SCA leaderboards, and we have some ancient 4 and 5s, and I'm in the middle. So there's two phases that we're going to be looking at in this game. The first phase is how you grow a lead and how you distribute farm and pressure the map to increase this lead. And the second is actually going high ground and taking these fights. So you can see right here the items that I've gone. I think it was first Earn into Pipe, into Force Staff, and then the Glimmer, and then the Lotus. So these are all items that help my teammates, and specifically help my Gyrocopter go high ground. So he's got a BKB and a Satanic, and they're the only two real defensive items. He's looking at the Force and the Greaves and all the items that I have to help him go high ground. So here's the graph just for more context. We're going to be looking at about the 15 to 42 minute period. So about 20 minutes of gameplay, or just less than that. Yeah, game is really over at 40, so about 15 minutes of gameplay. We'll get right into it. Here at 14 minutes actually. So at 14 minutes you can see we've got a 7k lead, really dominating the kills. Mid lane's pushing in, bot lane's pushing in. We just won a fight about 30 seconds ago in this bot lane. So Jakiro's just TP'd back in. We've shrined up on the the Gyrocopter, and you can see we're going to continue this pressure. The fight was just here. They were trying to take a fight aggressively rather than just being split again. This is really a Tinker lineup more than anything. So him being able to pressure other lanes means that we can stay as a team, and that's what we do as a unit here. Underlord is a little bit like Tinker. He can be anywhere because of his ult. So yeah, first thing we do is establish vision control. Right? So this is really important for growing this lead and just applying the pressure. So they've come and dewatered. They've put their own wards here, and then I'm gonna do a lot of this in 1.5 or 2 times vision. So at this point is when I ended the previous video on this game that discussed the laning stage. So this is all fresh stuff now. Just needed the context there. So you can see the threat that we have on anybody that walks up. Lion comes up and is just instantly dead to the magic nukes that we have. So what I want to do is get more wards, and I can do that well because I'm a bounty hunter. We're against a Zeus, so he's going to be dewarding everything. So I have to make them kind of non-typical. Then what we're going to do now is distribute the farm on the map as efficiently as we can between teammates. So we're splitting up the map right now. Gyro's staying bot. He's going to push in here. He's going to farm any stacks that we had. I think we had a stack here. And Tinker is going to be going everywhere. But what that means for me and Jakiro is that we're just going to push the other lane. We're going to sit in an area, and it's this area, and we're going to push that into here. So what we're trying to do is close off this space, right? We want to close off the space right into here. The enemy team is holding onto this kind of high ground area, right? With these wards. So they want to continue to farm these camps, which is good for them. They need to. If you lose this as a defending team, you're in a lot of trouble. So what Tinker can do is just push the wave past this high ground. So what we're trying to do as a Radiant team is push them like back into here. Keep them back away from here. And again, anytime they go to address bot right now, you see the Jakiro is pushing in top. What I'm doing is not showing in lane. I'm farming the neutral camps. What I think I'm doing is farming them nice and sneakily, but the enemy team actually have a ward here, which is good play from them. I didn't see them place it, I didn't know, so it stays up. And you can see the gyro. When you're trying to farm efficiently as a team, you always need to have an ancient farmer. And in our team, this is the gyro. So what he can do, he wants to farm kind of this area right here, right? He wants to be farming this ancients and the mid lane and these camps in between, right? So that means that Tinker's going to be pushing over here. We're going to be pushing here. For Underlord, it's pretty awkward actually. He doesn't have a natural place to farm, and that's because really the overlap between Underlord and Tinker in their roles in this team. His place is probably top, doing the same thing Jakiro is doing, and then your 3 is taking the same farm as your 5, so it kind of is what it is. There's only so much farm on the map, right? There's not enough farm for 10 heroes on the map. So yeah, so what we're kind of doing is looking for a point where we feel comfortable to push on. You know, we felt comfortable enough to take this tower, but now the enemy has a bit more items. You know, got a bit more levels. Here we go. So Underlord finally made his way up here, and this is where we want to be. We want to be pressuring this tower. So I'll take it back just a step here, because I'll show you this little interaction. So this is kind of the line, right? This line like going up here. This kind of bit here is where we want to push in and they want to defend. So I've seen that Lion, you know, walks this way, stops, and that's always a signal that the enemy has placed a ward, right? If they kind of stop for a second and they look like they're looking around with their hero, that's the cue. As well as, you know, doing the right thing and actually looking at their inventory, then you know, right? But the cue is they stop and they look around. So yeah, we'll fast forward through this as quick as we can. Now, when we started at 14 minutes ago, our lead was 7k. It's now grown to 11k. So that means we have farmed 4,000 gold more than they have in this time frame, right? And we've done that by farming more areas than the enemy team has. Very little fighting, just farming. So what we've limited the enemy team has been half of their normal jungle. I'll call this their primary jungle. They've still got their secondary jungle, but we're farming the lanes a little bit better, and we're also taking over this area, right? We've taken over an extra hard camp and small camp away from the enemy team, as well as farming the lanes a little more aggressively. So you can see right here, yeah, the monkey has pushed in the bot lane as much as he can, and the Tinker is pushing it back. So there's no real kill threat on the either of them, unless one of them like fucks up really badly. But that's just kind of what happens. So anytime that they commit heroes down here, we push on the other side of the map. So it's basically a split push strat. Ooh. Go back, because this is important how this fight starts, right? So I know that they've got a ward here. I finally got Sense and Wards of Korea. The Bristleback wants to, you know, this skirmish starts over control of the wards, right? Goes into a pit of malice, and we get 2 for nothing. Tinker Bolden walks up, unfortunately dies, but it's gonna go into a 5-for-1 trade for us. All started over the control of the sentry, and it's important to note that despite us being the protagonists, despite the Radiant being protagonists in the situation, forcing the map issue, we're actually the reactive in the fighting sense. It's kind of like walking at you with a shield and sword, right? We're walking at you with a shield, and then anytime you expose yourself by trying to attack us, that's when we strike. That's kind of the frame that you want to look at in Dota when you're pressuring the map, right? You're pressuring the map with a shield, and then the enemy extends and makes themselves vulnerable, then you use the sword, then you stab in the right place at the right time. So yeah, that's an analogy you can use. Now that we've taken this tower, this whole primary jungle is now under question for the enemy. This is no longer nearly as safe to farm. They've still got this shrine, but that tower was a lot for them. And it's a similar thing to here. These two towers make this area so much safer, right? So I think from here we're going on to the only other remaining tower, just slowly sieging it down, just intrusion, nothing too aggressive, you know, just extending the lead, applying pressure, right? So the enemy team actually go on the tick here. And the Bristleback's a bit of a madman chasing him down. We all rotate over. Unfortunately, I think he goes down, but we're going to get a kill. So in this draft, the role that Tinker is doing is the most... I'll talk about this death in a second. The most risk-taking, right? In some sense, it requires the most game sense and map sense, because you are going to the most places, and you're also precarious. That's the word I'm looking for. It's the most precarious role, the dangerous role, because any misstep and the enemy team can be on you, especially with an Axe coming out on Zeus. So yeah, in our situation, I think our highest rated player to win is like 1,000 leaderboard, so it's pretty good. Despite making some mistakes, he's pretty good. Yeah, so this death that I make right here, what I think the enemy team is doing is they're walking back. In fact, they're doing the opposite. I think they're going top to pressure lane. So I want to go and D-ward, but I've actually inadvertently blocked its smoke. So I wouldn't do it again, because I think it's easier just to block the smoke here rather than dying for it, walking up a high ground. Again, these high grounds are all important, man. High grounds are everything. So yeah, very, very greedy play from me to forego my limits. A bit emboldened. This is the safest area on the map for the enemy team right now. This is kind of all they have left. Top, especially with the wards that we don't know that they have. Sorry, that they don't know that we have. This is now our territory, right? This is what the wards provide. A ward here, you know, looking at entrances. A ward here for anybody that walks into it, and sentries. So we know they don't have wards. Yeah. So that death is me misstepping. Is me trying to take over too much space. So lesson learned then. You know, just go at your own pace, or go at the pace of your team. Don't try to rush things, because that's how you throw. So fast forward here a little bit. So where do I go here? All lanes are kind of pushed in for us, so that's the thing that we got to adjust right now. Oh, I'm loving this. This is a bounty rune game for a bounty hunter. I think I've set like a personal record for collecting bounty runes. But yeah, they are also a resource. They're bounty runes. I'll talk about that in a second actually. Yeah, I want to talk about this ward. I said this is our territory, right? And this is why. Because we've got the wards. So anytime they step up, I can go in, provide further vision. We can wrap around like behind them even, right? Because they don't have if they had the tier 2, sorry, if they had the tier 1, Gyro would never be able to wrap around behind them. But taking towers opens the map. That's what it means to open the map by taking towers. You give yourself space to maneuver. So from that Bristleback death, right, it's time to push again. It's time to slowly siege. Can't remember if I was going to say something before that engagement. Yeah, I was. Anyway, so I'll talk to that in a minute. You'll see this a lot. You know, even the good players like Zeus can get caught out in a 4 and 5. Yeah, Zeus does exactly what Tinker, almost exactly what Tinker does. Just a little misstep and you can get caught. So that's what these engagements are all about. When you're slow sieging, it's just catching the guy out of position, and it'll often lead one to another. So what I was going to reference before was in these side spots. This is the only territory on their side of the map that we completely took over, right? This area. So I said it was a small camp and a large camp, but that's not everything. It's also the bounty rune control, right? And so to a lesser extent, this one here. Bounty runes are also something, but they are the change from bounty runes going from here to these two areas is it makes the corners of the map more important. Previously, the corners of the map are like the least valuable, right? The most valuable are, first of all, the mid lane, which is the shortest, most direct path to your enemy ancient. It's also the closest to Roche. It's also the closest to the now 4 ancient camps, right? The most valuable resource for farm is ancient camps. And they're all closest to the mid lane. As well as that, as well as Roche, it's got the power up runes, or whatever their real name is. But yeah, bounty runes are the only thing that the corners have going for them. So we took Roche, so we've got the Aegis on the gyrocopter now. Enemy team smoked and got a kill. Good for them, good play from the enemy team. You can't just sit there and take it. You've got to play to win. Yeah, so Aegis and Roche is really important for us as a team that wants to push and slow siege, right? You know, with an Aegis you can with an Aegis you're basically just safer, right? You've got a buffer. You've got you know, you can throw a gyrocopter at the enemy team, and if they use all their spells and kill him, that's fine, because not only does the gyro come back, but the enemy team doesn't get back the spell that they've used, right? So that's more relevant for like something like a black hole, you know, not as relevant as something like a thunderbolt and a nimbus, but that's okay. So you saw that I went pipe first. Pipe is my first major item. Urn is good for keeping the ball rolling. When you get kills, you keep going. But pipe is the thing that has allowed us to take these towers. I think I forgot to mention that, but it's worthwhile. Pipe, the first major item, and that is why. Up against the Zeus damage, Lion and Rubik, all exclusively magic damage. And so pipe is like, it's a bit mandatory. It's basically mandatory. So now that this tier 2 tower is gone, mid, you see, go back a step actually. We've now taken over this area for the first time. 28 minutes in, we've taken over all the areas, right? And a 15k gold lead. So now anytime these guys step out anywhere, they've got really no defense left. You see that here. Monkey comes in, our vision immediately sees him, tracked up, BKB off cooldown, sorry, on cooldown. Immediately dead enemy carry. Just playing to our high grounds, playing to our vision. That's the game that you got to play. And that's what Bounty Hunter does. He's a vision hero at heart. So you gotta control your vision. In lower MMRs that's harder. Enemy teams won't play around. Sorry, your team won't play around the vision switch. That's basically how it goes. So now, in the next 10 minutes, I'm not going to talk about map control as much. What I am going to talk about is fighting and using items, and actually this last step, this step right here, going high ground. And that blade mail really did a number on Gyro. First and only death, I think. Blade mail, very unfortunate. And you can see the risk involved in us fighting. The risk involved in us fighting is dying because we are so far ahead. This gyro is worth literally triple the enemy carry. Our carry dying is triple the enemy carry bounty, right? So we can't trade 1 for 1. Typically with the Bounty Hunter draft, you want to trade 1 for 1 because you get more because of track. That's the opposite now. Even with track gold, they'll get double what we get. So it's very important that you adjust with that as you go. So now we're looking to regain control of top. You know, sentries down in important spots, wards up in uncommon spots for the Zeus. So you see, immediately we deward this, right? And the Lion needs to make sure that we don't have a ward there. Lose a sentry, but that's okay. Our ward is still up. And anytime Zeus walks out, he's immediately gone. He actually makes it away in this case because we've got a Glimmer. And Glimmer is really good in these kind of slow engagements, right? Saving somebody else. Now with the double catapult wave, really good time for us to get some chip damage. Get rid of that ward if I can. I don't know why that ward won't give me. There we go. So yeah, just chip damage, And here's a Bounty Hunter. I've got the Force stuff. I upgraded the urn. But yeah, it's all about the Force stuff from here. What enables us to go up, in a sense, is being able to come back, and that's what Force stuff does for you in these engagements. So I'll fast forward here until we go again. You see, we're maintaining pressure here, and we're maintaining pressure elsewhere because of their Tinker. Anytime they step up and get aggressive on us, we can go on them. But, you know, look at the track work to go. Track and Tinker, it's insane. But yeah. All the while, anytime that they don't walk up, it's time Gyro can farm jungle. And anytime they do walk up and get into us, is we can just go on them. So look at that, Monkey King ult down, immediately Force stuff out. They're all tracked up, they're all taking Tinker damage. It's really hard for them to do anything to us. Because we're defensively solid, right? Our shield is really strong, and that enables us to be aggressive. So that's a concept that I wanna really emphasize. You know, defense, offense are linked, and this is it in effect. This is it in manifestation, right? In animation, that's the word I'm going to. This is offense and defense animated. Let's see. We'll fast forward through the pause. There we go. A bit too fast. So the only thing we really got out of that, the only objective we got out of that whole couple of minutes engagement was the Bristleback kill and the tower, and that's enough for us, right? But anytime they walk at us is when we go on them. So the Monkey King can BKB and survive. The Rubik doesn't have that. He's only got a Yules. So the Rubik is gonna die. And the Lion is gonna die. He's only got a Glimmer Cape. And that's the pattern you're gonna see most of the time. In these slow, sluggish trench warfare type things. Guys like Bristleback will survive the fight more often than guys like Lion. That's because, right, it takes 10 nukes to bring this guy down, and it only takes like 3 to bring Lion down. So anytime that Bristle walks out of position, he can survive for a little while. Anytime Lion steps out of position, instantly dead. So that's the pattern that happens a lot. And then when you're in a situation where you're 3v5 or 5v3, then you can go for more objectives. So in our case, we're playing it safe, and we're going to go for the Roshan. Because we've got the tower as well, we can get the shrines, and they are the last remnant, right? At 35 minutes, the shrine timing. Last remnant. This Aegis we get cheese, so that's nice, you know, it is always good to... That's something that's really cool about Rosh right now. Or at least in this patch. Rosh only gets stronger as you go further on. Or at least the benefit of taking Rosh only gets stronger, so that's really cool. So you see here, I'm just guarding the space. They can't smoke at us now because I'm there. Or at least if they did, I'd find them. And the same thing for Tinker. Tinker's applying pressure. So that if they don't defend, we know that they're doing something else, like smoking a Rosh. So yeah, we'll fast forward just a little bit. The next item that I go is Glimmer. And that's basically, I look at that as a second pipe, right? Yeah, I get the Glimmer here. So I'm gonna slow this fight way down. We want to look at the mechanics of Bounty Hunter. Right? So forcing Underlord out, glimmering him, and look at the reaction from the monkey, right? He's now way out of position. He walked up to our high ground. Right? So he's gonna have to use his BKB, but we're gonna nuke him way down before he can even have the chance. Look at that. He's now just gonna die to the physical damage. Tinker dies. Holy moly! You're kidding me. I didn't see this in real time, so I'm not sure how this happened. Oh, okay. Tinker dies but to the smoke. Yeah. Okay. But yeah. So playing Tinker is gonna happen sometimes if the enemy team is good. You're gonna be proactive. Yeah, right. So this is what prompted us to go top. So they're all like bot. They all smoke bot. So we want to make them come back top. Otherwise, they can just push the lane. We have Aegis and BKB Gyro, so we're doing alright. So even though we're 4 and 5, yeah, this is why Monkey is so keen to get this fight started, right? You know, he's not going to do this 5 on 5. He's only doing this because we're all there. So that's why the moment they show, we're trying to get back, right? The only reason we go in is because this guy's absolutely kamikaze. So back to Bounty Hunter, you've seen the Glimmer, you've seen the Force. I even use Urn just to try to burst him. Then I actually walk back and I don't use Pipe. And for the first time, the enemy can actually burst this Underlord. He didn't get Greaves or Cheese off, so that's really unfortunate for him. They can't really deal with the Gyro. Gyro's too strong. We're at a 21k lead now, so we don't balk at fighting without Tinker. But look at that. Gyro, on the other hand, you know, he can walk up and he's still got a save, right? That's still a save from my Glimmer, and you know, Force if ready. Jakiro even has a medallion of Force, so we've got resources. And you can see how tanky that makes me. Because I'm actually tanky and I can take a spell, that means I can walk up and actually right click. Not for a great deal of damage, but I can apply a Janata. And I can use Shadow Walk damage, you know. So again, that's defense enabling offense, and that's a really key thing that I wanna emphasize with Bounty Hunter. If you go absolute glass cannon, if I went at Deso and Phase Boots and Drums, I would die in 2 seconds. Right? I would die faster than that Gyrocopter did then with my Glimmer Cape. Look at that. I want to replay that in like slow-mo. Show you how fast it happens. Show you how fast he dies actually. So he's got Aegis, no BKB, 3 down, but all their magic dealers up. So within a second, he's actually half his HP. But look what we're able to do for him, right? Within half a second, he's another half his HP, right? 1,500 magic damage. But he's fine. He can walk up into that kind of nuke damage because of the defense that me and Jakiro are giving him. And now my last Urn charge, he's gonna be back to full health, right? And we keep going. So now the enemy don't have Finger of Death, they don't have Nimbus for 10 seconds. So we're able to get a little bit more chip damage, just a little bit more chip damage. And now BKB is up for Gyro. And he can just man up. He can just man up into the racks. So this is kind of what you have to do. Play around your timings. Trade cooldowns basically for a while until you get an advantage. That's how the sieging goes. Conceptually anyway. So yeah, we've got the racks. We're all getting low now. We don't need to fight. The enemy team is all up. We'll settle for that objective. Happy with that. I'll fast forward. I think so. We've taken Shrine. We'll replay this. So obviously we've taken the top racks now. Now the next one is logically going bot, which is already really far down. So I'm scouting out ahead of time. Me and Jakiro working as a unit. I saw the line and backed. He saw the line and went in. But that's okay because I can help him out. Glimmer and Pipe. Jakiro can't die. You know who can die? Lion. Lion can die. And now we're in a 5 vs 4 situation. So nothing too special about that one. It's just playing your territory, and again, defensive items being really handy. So here we go again. Rubik comes up to try to push this wave, and immediately Underlord walks over, I walk over, Tinker TP's in. This is going to be a dead Rubik. Bam. Just picking people off. Just picking people off. Now top lane is pushing in. We're all bot. It's going really well for us. Really well for us. Death by 1,000 cuts, man. The game before this, you know, I was playing on Zeus's team, and we got ratted to death by TCG again, and that was, it's just not fun. It's not fun to be at the receiving end, and it requires patience from the sieging team. You know, this is just good play, good defending play, and good attacking play. So you look at that, now at a 35k lead, Gyro is actually big enough with a Satanic and Butterfly and BKB to just tank anything they got and destroy them, absolutely destroy them. So this is 40 minutes in, you would say a bit of game over. Only with a 35,000 gold lead can we like actually break down the door, you know? It's no longer chip damage, we're actually breaking it down. So I got a Lotus at about 30 seconds or a minute before. Lotus doesn't pay great dividends this game, but it's another item along this kind of similar theme, right? It's a dispel, it's gonna reflect any spells, you know. It's kind of the logical next item, right? As a bounty, I don't need to deal damage. I have a Gyrocopter dealing damage. I have a Tinker dealing damage, right? That's how it should be. If you have to deal damage as bounty, you're kind of buggered already. And this is kind of why. You're not a hero that can end the game. You're not a hero that can hit billings. So don't try to build as though you are. Yeah. You see how quickly that Tinker does, right? You know, the enemy team has threats. If I don't have these items, right? If I don't have Pipe and Glimmer and Force, Gyro's never going to be able to hook up, right? Almost never. You know? It's, yeah. I've said it a few times already, but you really you've got to envision how you're going to win the game, right? Any game that you walk into, you have to envision, have a clear thought in your mind. What is your win condition, right? What needs to happen in order for you to win? And this game, it's the Gyro sieging. So all of my items are built with that in mind. We need to make Gyro sieging work, right? You know, Gyro can be interchangeable with any other carry, right? So a carry like Terrorblade is better at taking towers, but he could also use this help, right? You can burst a Terrorblade as easily as you can a Gyro, even easier. You know, if you stop and getting Sunder off. Yeah, a hero like Ursa, a hero like Ursa with bounty is really good and really bad. He's really good because he enables you to get kills. He's really bad at translating those kills into objectives. So Gyro is somewhere in the middle. He's better than Ursa because he's ranged, and he has a lot of physical damage. And he has AoE damage, so if they go on him, he can just turn on flat cannon and hit everybody. So he's better in a lot of ways, but he's not the absolute best. He's still pretty good. You know, the best heroes for high grounding. You know, maybe your life stealer for a similar. You got a similar reason. You got a short cooldown on BKB. So you know you've got your own Glimmer Cape and pipe. Um, you know, a hero like Wraith King, you can die and just come back, whatever. Or yeah. So yeah. So I think I've covered all the things I really wanted to cover. I think we'll end it there. Hope you guys enjoyed watching the video, enjoyed playing, enjoyed commentating. If you have any feedback or comments or questions, hit me in the comments below. Until next time, guys. Cheers for watching.